Now, this episode is brought to you by MailChimp. MailChimp is the best email marketing software you can get. MailChimp is used by over 7 million businesses, and 7 billion emails are sent with the service each month. Now, if you look at the What's the Tea website, you can see that we were already fans of MailChimp far before they were even a sponsor. It's a really great service. Now, if you have less than 2,000 people on your email list, MailChimp is completely free. Now, go to MailChimp.com. That's MailChimp.com and sign up today.
What do you want? What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea. What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea. What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea. What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea. What's the tea? You tell me.
Hi.
Hi, girl.
Hi, sexy. We are back, Miss Kitty Girl. RuPaul, What's the Tea with Michelle Visage.
What's the tea?
What's the tea? I was just thinking a lot about, writing the intro to your book and how you are such, Michelle, you are such a go-getter, survivor, someone who will not be stopped.
I'm glad that you say that, because it always comes to me at the times I need to hear that.
Really?
Always the time where I go, am I sure I'm doing this thing right? That you say that and I go, okay,
yeah,
I'm doing
it's
it
an
right.
interesting thing that you would think that after all these years you don't know that, or that you forget that about yourself. I know you know it, but you forget that about yourself.
I do, because I guess I've been on autopilot for so long that this is the only way that I know.
Right.
And you too. It's the only way that we know.
But, I always somehow require... like with the seasons, there are times, like at the end of the year, where I need to go into myself and sort of, close the blinds and reflect a little
You're
bit.
cocooning.
I'm cocooning. And, there are times when I do sort of, some doubt eases in, but I think it's healthy doubt where I go, oh my gosh, do I want to do this anymore?
Right.
But then of course I resurrect.
Right.
And I'm stronger than ever, but it's sometimes it's hard to remember.
I think I never ever do that. I never cocoon. I never second guess. It's the only thing I know how to do.
You just full tilt boogie.
Always, but I do have moments. Mm-hmm. They're never seasons. They're never more than an hour, half an hour of going, what's bothering me today? I know what it is. I'm doing the wrong thing for a living. And then I go, oh, no, I'm not, because this is what I do. This is all I know how to do.
Right. Well, I don't know if it would be, for me, I don't know if it'd be the wrong thing to do. It's just that the biggest challenge, and I've said this many times in my career, in my life, is staying engaged.
Yes.
Especially in show business, that it can be so... trite, is that the right word?
Yes.
Where it's just simple and just
petty.
sort of kind of meaningless in a way, where you're like, oh, geez, like doing, say, I know you've done entertainment reports on the radio
for 17 years.
For 17 years, and some of the things that you might have to talk about are things you like.
Don't interest me at all.
What is the purpose?
I know. Why am I talking about these Emma F. life when I want that to be my life? That was my issue with it, and I had to block that out because that's such an entitlement thing. So I was like, because I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Doing what I do is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
So when I reported on this person doing this or that person, getting a deal, whatever they did, even though in my gut that entitlement thing was going, you could do what they do, only better.
Right.
I had to get over it and go, well, this is what I'm doing right now.
See, my thing wouldn't be that. My thing would be, this is meaningless.
Yeah, well.
This has no... I don't care about this.
But it is meaningless to you and I on a different level. But for the people that listen and wait for it, it does mean something. So if you look at it that way and go, these people are waiting to hear it, then it changes that point of view.
Right. I see that as a way that people use to distract themselves. I think the biggest industry on this planet is distraction. I think that a lot of people don't want to look at themselves, so it's important to look at someone else's life, live their life vicariously through someone else's experience.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy to judge.
Yeah.
And I do it all the time. I think we all do it. Every single moment that I catch myself judging, I have to stop. Even last night, I was at the mall with my daughter, and I saw a young girl wearing something that was very, very risque. And I probably did the same thing at her age.
I'm sure you did.
But she had tattoos like a string, like a daisy chain, no pun intended, down her spine. And like this really open, almost falling off her body, Stevie Nicks off the shoulder blouse, which I kind of coveted in a way. Like I was like, I kind of want that blouse. But I was like, oh, look at her. And my daughter Lily was like, why are you slut shaming right now? And I'm like, you're totally right.
Right.
I'm slut shaming and I was a former slut. That's not cool. So I got snapped right back in the moment because she's right. It was my instinct to go, that girl's too young to wear that to a mall, which was really what I was talking about. Not that she was dressed so floozily. It was that she was too young to be so provocative.
I just love that title, slut shaming from a former slut.
That should be the name of my book right there.
That.
Slut shaming from a former slut. Next book.
Good. Yeah.
Hear
Done.
that, Chronicle, hear that?
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Copywritten.
Done.
Yeah.
Get ready for the next forward.
Well, I don't know. I just think, I know that there's a certain process that I go through where I have to sort of break it down and build it back up again.
But you've always done that.
I've always done that. Sometimes I can get a big running leap over October. No, it's November, December.
You started Halloween.
I started Halloween.
Yes.
And then I can usually, by February 2nd, I'm like, okay, I'm back.
You come out with the Groundhog?
Groundhog's Day. That's me. I come back Groundhog's Day.
But I can say from knowing you for 125 years that you're much better. You've been much better for the past almost 8-9 years.
Well, you know what? Because I don't smoke weed anymore, and weed is a depressant.
Well, of course.
That made that comeback a lot harder. When back, because I smoked weed from the time I was 10 years old to about. I was 39 when I was
going to say you were 30 something.
Yeah, I was 39 when I quit smoking weed, and I was a wake and baker.
Yeah, you were.
I was a wake and baker.
Oh, I remember going to the radio station with you with your eyes so red, and I go, girl, put your sunglasses on.
Well, the thing about that was that, back then I couldn't go to sleep.
Right. Well, you were a bad sleeper anyway.
I was a bad sleeper, so I would stay up all night long and go into the radio station with the car. Remember my driver Bill?
4
Remember
o'clock?
him? We would get in there. I would get there at 5. We go on the air at 6.
He picked me up at 4. By the time we got down to you, it was like 4:20.
Yes. Yep. And then
4:20, ironically enough.
And so so when back then, I was very difficult for me. That comeback, that resurrection that I would do in February, was much easier.
Yeah.
But my philosophy now is look, don't stare. I can look at my life for a hot minute and see what is what. But it's important to not stare at it too long.
I agree, because that's when you fall into the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll do the same thing. That's why I try to keep it half hour, keep it moving. If I can do it 5 minutes and encapsulate it, then I'll do it in 5 minutes.
All right, soul to soul, you better keep on moving.
Okay, keep on moving, don't stop now. Because it's not going to take care of nobody know how, honestly.
No.
You just have to keep going.
Right, it becomes pointless. But you and I both know people who stay there, who build a camp. In
Camp Misery.
In Camp Misery, yeah.
I can't go there anymore. I used to when in my 20s, a lot easier, and even into my 30s. But then having children helped me have something else to fixate on, And then I was like, well, look, I'm a mother. I'm the one who brings home the bacon. I'm the sole provider. I'm doing the radio. Yeah. I woke up every day for 17 years at 2:15 in the morning. To do the radio show, and that's what I did, and I love it. But I have to tell you, for the first time in my life, it's fantastic to be living my life the way I want to live it. I'm traveling. I'm so grateful for a fantastic stay-at-home husband. I'm with talent that I absolutely respect, adore, and love. I do a TV show on TV with my best friend. How can life get any better? Really?
Well, you could have $1 billion in the bank.
You're right. So now I'm going to be depressed again. Great.
But I will say this. I'm looking over at Michelle right now, and Michelle has been on this vegan, gluten-free diet, and Michelle looks gorgeous.
Aww.
You look like you did in the 90s. I swear to you. I'm looking over at you, and it's freaking me out.
Shut up.
No, don't say shut up, because you need to hear this.
Okay.
You are so gorgeous.
Go on.
You haven't looked this good in a long time.
Oh, thank you.
You really do. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
It's
brilliant.
Happiness and focus, because I'm really enjoying where I am.
Good.
Not just in life, where I am in the world, geographically. I'm loving it here in LA. Remember when I was going back and forth going, do I do it? And you're like, girl, just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I listened. I love doing our show. We don't know how long, we don't know how often, whatever it is, I love doing it. And the way I see it, there's a lot more seasons left out there. I see the talent that's out there, so I know it can keep going. We're also doing good things for people who otherwise wouldn't have been seen doing the talent that they do. The food that I eat as a gluten-free vegan, people can make fun of me. They think that it's hogwash and it's crap. I'm enjoying it so much. I'm actually really loving the food that I'm eating, and I'm living that life. You know what I mean? So for me, it's done this complete change in who I am, my outlook, my energy. I'm reversing my autoimmune disease, which is why I started doing it.
Wow.
So that's what it's all about for me, and it shows. You saw it the minute I walked in the door.
Yeah.
I don't even see it because I see myself every day.
Yeah.
Every time I go away for a week and come home, my husband goes, oh my God, you lost more weight and you're glowing. It's amazing. It's like, I guess I am. When I see myself every day, I don't see it.
Yeah.
But when I haven't seen you in a month and I walk in and you almost die on the floor, then something's going right with my green drink.
I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you for that.
Well, we got a special guest coming up who has
Speaking about resurrection.
Well, exactly. Who's had her share of, adversity and coming through it. And we can all learn a thing or two from Ms. Anastacia.
Yay!
So after this little break, we were going to have superstar Anastacia. This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Get started with a free trial at squarespace.com with no credit card required. Now, Squarespace recently launched their latest version, Squarespace 7, which has a completely redesigned interface, new templates, and an incredible new feature called Cover Pages. Making a website has never been easier. Now, when you're ready to purchase a plan, get 10% off with the offer code RU. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. We are here with our special guest, Anastacia. Hi, Mama.
Hi, Boo Boo.
This is the first time we've ever met.
This is the first time we've ever.
What?
I know. Stop, Mish. I know. I'm having a hard time because we've Twittered.
Yes.
We twatted each other.
Yes, we've twatted each other.
And that's always great, but I really have to say that you're just so amazingly beautiful
Thank
and fabulous.
you.
And
I can't get over this.
No,
Look,
we
I've been
have-
friends with her since I'm 19 years old.
I know.
Really?
We've known of each other for so long that I feel like I have met him. So, giving you a hug today, I was like, hi, baby.
Yeah.
As if I'd known you forever.
No, it's true. And then,
Yeah.
are you from San Diego?
No,
She's from
no,
Chicago.
that was my manager. My first manager was from San Diego. I am actually from Chicago. So I'm Midwest girl.
I see.
Yeah.
But I met her in New York when she
Yes,
was a background dancer for Latin Rascals, Tony Moran and the other ones.
And
a
Coro
background
and-
for Coro?
Yes, I was engaged.
She was engaged.
Wait.
Before he
Sweetheart.
came out of his closet.
Wait a minute.
It's very much, this is stuff people don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, now for you guys who don't know, Coro is a freestyle performer
Yes.
from New York. Who we all, if you live in the New York area, you know who Coro is. But
Where are you tonight, my love? In the arms of another man.
Oh, shoot. There you go. That should have let me know right there. But I was like, wah, wah. I didn't really have it all together. I was not that wise.
You were a baby.
I was a baby.
so you went from Chicago to New York.
Yes, and I stayed in New York for quite a long time, but my family moved to California, and I was not happening in New York, and it was just a struggle. So about at 25, 26, I came to LA and lived with my mom and stayed there for a while.
And was working at Jose Bear.
And
You do hair?
No, I'm a very good receptionist.
Oh, okay.
Virgo.
Yes,
There you go.
but I picked up all the hair tips and everything, so I'm really great to work with. Not when you're my glam squad, I'm like, this piece is out of place and this is not
She's like
even.
that with nails,
Oh my god,
Uh-huh.
totally, yeah. So, but perfection is to be strived for.
So, because Michelle and I was going to say Joelle because I have these girls who have double L's, even though you don't. You have a double L. In
Double
your-
L.
Yeah, and my brain just does that.
That's okay.
But Michelle,
That's me.
Yeah, and I worked at KTU doing radio, so
I know.
the freestyle explosion. It exploded all over us.
All
didn't
over our
it?
face.
Yeah, all over our
All
faces.
over your face.
So
Our
it's-
chest. podcast.
I went to KTU.
You did,
and it was probably a day that you
weren't
there.
No. It was after he had already moved back to LA because Ralphie was doing the morning show.
Right.
Oh,
yes.
And I had just had my first baby.
Yes, you did.
Do you know who the father is? Have you figured it out?
I haven't found him yet.
Yes,
but international locators.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers and toes.
Yeah.
So right. So that's why when you said you had dated Coro,
it's a difficult thought process.
Well, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it.
I was before he came out.
When did he come out?
I hope I didn't push him out into his own,
he came out way after that. Way after.
Yeah, he was still in a closet situation.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be his friend. Once I found out that he probably was, I was like, oh, we should be friends. But he was so in denial. He didn't want to be in. It just hurt my feelings that he would lie to me. And I was just so sensitive about that. So didn't really talk to him for a while. And then it's
How long were you together?
Well, he asked me to marry him too. So, that was like a big deal for me. I was 21 to 22 and a half.
So like
a year and a half.
I made Tony Moran make out with me too. So
my God, I loved him too. I had a big fat crush on T.
That's what we girls did. We fell in love with the gay boys.
We fell in love with the gays.
So you made out with Tony Moran?
I made out with Tony Moran. I literally
God, I still want to.
He's so hot.
He's gorgeous.
I so still want to.
So hot.
Yeah.
Wait, now, have you since or ever dated, I think it's the same thing, isn't it? Since or ever. Wait a minute.
No, have you since breaking up with Coro?
Or ever. Right.
Yes.
Dated a man who was later turned out to be a gay man.
Besides Coro.
It's possible because I've had my share of very special people.
Yeah,
and I've always picked them with a personality. So goodness only knows. I mean, I'll find out.
Sure.
But maybe after this whole experience of being on your show, there'll be a lot of people coming out and telling me, "Girl, when I was all buffed up and." Don't
you remember I like to do your hair?
Right. And I was like, oh my God, you did. And I just thought they were being that sensitive part I was bringing out in them. Little did I know.
So when I met her, she was dancing background for Tony and what was the other one?
Tony and the other one.
Okay.
It's Tony Moran. The Latin Rascals were Tony Moran
Latin
and...
love you, make me hot.
Who was the other one?
Give me all the love you got. Sorry, other rascal.
Yeah, it'll come.
Oh my God, I see him.
I know you do. You keep seeing while I tell the story.
Right.
Okay. So she was dancing background for them. Doing their dancers.
Andy?
Her and Kim.
No.
He was like Puerto Rican. I don't think his name's Andy.
Andy Barrino?
Well, Andy Panda.
Oh, Andy Panda.
It wasn't Panda. It wasn't Panda. So I was in Seduction. We were doing this like big event in Camden.
Camden, New Jersey.
Camden, carjacking capital of the world. And that's why I
didn't have a car, so it didn't really
matter.
Neither did I. And we met each other, and it was like kismet. I was like, oh my God, I was looking in the mirror when I met her. We were like the same person. And we just connected.
I just fell in love with her face. I was like, oh my God, like, who made you?
And I fell in love with her ass because she was that juicy ass.
So were you both sporting side ponytails or
no,
what?
I had a blonde bob, and you had longer hair.
I had strange. I was not that fashionable. I just sort of...
It's hard to judge when you're a background dancer.
I know.
Outfits.
I just wore black clothes. And
it was one of those moments, but it was like such a connection.
Yeah.
And then she had a girl group with another girl, Kimana? What was it called?
It was Imana is what we called ourselves. Anastacia. It's... I don't even remember. Like, it was so foggy. I was with the New Kids on the Block manager,
Maurice
Starr.
Maurice Starr was the producer. Dick Scott was the manager.
Dick Scott, yes.
So I was with him for a bit, and then that didn't really pan out, and trying to get a lot of different things in my career. And then we met up again, I want to say circa
90.
Like I was 27.
KTU time?
No, when we were going to do a girl group together, her and I.
We're the same exact age, so you were not 27.
No?
No, we were 25, let's say.
Okay.
Because I started radio at 26. I wasn't on the radio yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So 25.
It was then?
Yeah.
Oh.
25. So we were doing a girl
No, the
group.
reason why I think it was later, see, we're going to have like...
But I wasn't on the radio yet. Was I?
Yes, you were on the radio already, and done with the radio is when we did that, because it just happened before I got my record deal. And the only reason I think 27, 28 is because he had me in a contract and tried to stop my career.
Well, then was I married already?
Yes.
Well, then I was on the radio.
Yeah.
I was on the radio in New York. So if that's the case, that we with producers that should not be named.
Yes, they're not named because
right.
they're not nice. They don't need to
Right.
be.
They don't nice.
Right.
We were doing a girl group called Bizarre with me, her, and another girl who was a good singer too.
Yeah.
But because of that, the contract was shady, and she was smart enough to go F yourself and leave.
Yeah.
That it fell apart. But it was a good thing that it
But
did.
I signed it, and of course he was like, "I'm going to keep you." And then, of course, luckily, getting an opportunity to work with Sony, they were like, "You can take your contract and go and."
And
that's what happened.
How did they nullify the old contract?
They didn't need. It was Tommy Mottola. It's nullified.
Right.
It's just done.
Yeah.
Is the contract? No, there's no contract. Thank you.
What
Okay,
contract?
Great.
Yeah.
What contract?
Okay.
So that was how that rolled. Is that he just had a lot of power, and
So
there was
I'm just
no-
interested in all those years of the people who moved to New York and want to make something of themselves. I can't imagine what it's like today, honestly. But you moved to New York. You did everything.
But when I moved to New York, I was 13. My mom, my sister, my brother, and I all moved from Chicago to New York. My mom got a divorce, so we moved to New York looking for better stuff. My mom was hoping to branch off into more theater because she was in musical theater.
Oh.
And, so it was that kind of thing. So we all lived in a one bedroom.
What part of town?
Definitely like 57th Street and 8th Avenue, like a cubby hole, which was great. She just wanted us in a very comfortable neighborhood.
It's a nice neighborhood.
Yeah. And I went to the professional children's school, and I was like the only kid in school because I didn't work. My mom wanted me to work. She wanted me in the business so bad, and I was so terrified of all the auditions. So I'd be like, "Oh, they didn't call me back," but I would never go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so Malcolm Jamal Warner, like everyone that is in my age range, Laura Flynn Boyle, like everybody was in my class. But
Really?
crazy.
I was the only one in class. They were on correspondence.
Yeah,
I'll do the math homework.
Yeah.
Right.
So you had been there, and you always had a voice.
Yes.
The voice came from your mom.
Yeah, it came from my mom and my dad. I think it just came from just the genetics of a gift because
Your father sings.
my father was a crooner.
Yeah.
So it definitely was like a really wild thing. But I thought everyone could sing. The naivete of me just being able to sing like that was...
What about the other siblings?
Sean didn't really like it. She was shy, so I just assumed her being shy and not really wanting to go out there was just choice. And my brother has autism, so he loves music, but not in a performing way.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So it really was just one of those things that I sort of had the bug and the gift, but I didn't really want to do it because both my parents were in it, and they also were blue collar workers. They still had to have a job.
So did it have a negative effect on the way you saw
so
it?
it was like, it wasn't just that. They had to pay bills, so
Sure.
they had to do other jobs. So I just didn't really... I didn't know. When I was young, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I mean, it's very strange and then I realized how alone you are, and I was like, no.
Right.
So I didn't really know what I wanted to do for a very long time, and dance was like something I liked to do.
Well, you're good at it, too.
Something that was natural. I didn't do any technical stuff dancing. It was just I had a good beat, and I could learn things. And that was how I started in music and what music made me feel.
But your voice is so powerful. I would think that anybody who hears it for the first time, even as a small kid, would go, "Oh my goodness, this
That
is a
one.
great singer
Yeah.
right here."
Well, I think when
Unless
you
you
think
hit it.
about back in the day, there weren't a lot of people that sounded and looked like me. So it was a very difficult market to try to fit into when
Really?
the white girls that weren't soulful white, I mean, like I was so Caucasian, like fully Caucasian. It's not like I had...
Not like you're a mixed girl.
They all wanted me to be Spanish with my big butt, and I wasn't. And
We acted it, though.
Yes, I did. I wore the scrunchie. I did.
I still do.
I still wear the scrunchie. Yeah, so we did what we needed to do to hang out and fit in New York scene, but relatively, my voice was just what it was. It wasn't so R&B, and it wasn't so Celine that I didn't really have a market because I had a signature sound too.
Right. No, it's just very interesting. I'm always curious about people who move to LA or move to New York and just work the scene, because what you two described is a story that I've heard many times from young kids who, back then, even Madonna's story, you moved to New York, you
with $1 and a dream.
With $1, or in my case, a dream and a pair of high heels.
Right.
And, there is a scene that's happening where there's music producers and different people who are doing things, and you could grow a record from a club scene up into a national and sometimes international base.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what that's like today, how that's translated.
It's all about the internet, and it's all about YouTube, and so the kids are promoting themselves is really what happens.
Yeah.
They have a little Casio, they try to make their little song happen, and then they make a video, and if they're cute enough, the girls like them. And if the girl is pretty enough or naked enough, then maybe she'll get some C's and, likes and stuff like that on her Instagram. That's just what's happening.
So you don't have to move to New York anymore.
So you don't have to move anywhere. You can get discovered everywhere. But everyone wants to be discovered. And it's starting to get very saturated, in my opinion, about what is talent and what lines are drawn when you call yourself a singer and all you need is something like a button to make you sound good. That's not a singer.
Right.
That's I can put that into a performer.
That's a pop singer these days.
But it's not a singer.
No, it's
like
not.
a singer sings.
Well, that's why when Adele came out, and it was so interesting to watch someone actually sing a song without audio, and you're like, oh my goodness, you mean a human can actually do that?
And even Amy Winehouse before her. I think that's what's so refreshing about artists like that. And what I love about Anastacia, no matter whether this country gets it or not, what she does is so pure and different. And that's what I love about it. Her new album, Resurrection, is unbelievable. And it stays true to her little Sprock thing that she made up. That's her own kind of definition of what she does.
Sprock thing?
Sprock.
What's that?
Soul pop rock. I had to make my own category, honey, because they didn't have a category for my little happy booty, so I had to make my own category, girl.
Sprock.
I had to.
Sprock. Yeah. I love that.
Soul pop rock, honey. I do a little bit of everything, but it's, don't try to throw me in one category, because we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of fish in the sea.
Well, it's funny. The first time I heard of you was through it was Elton John. He championed Anastacia like nobody's business.
I know he did. And he was really, really just so tickled about me as an artist and coming out and sharing with the world. And I had so wide-eyed at 30 coming out, in this business. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea what key I was singing, no idea. I'm writing songs and I don't even really realize that they're going to go on the record. I'm like, oh my God, this is really wild. So all of it was so innocent, like it would happen when you're like 15.
Yeah.
Yet I'm 30 and I'm still just fascinated by it all.
Now, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
I was very gullible and I have chosen people that probably didn't bring out the best in me. And I don't think I can learn anything like that. Time made me understand that. Just wiseness and time made me a little bit better picker of people that would bring out a better me in me. And I think that is just you making the mistakes so that you can figure out what they are. I don't believe in going back and changing and then things would be, because I think the situation was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't need to change what I went through, actually. The health stuff that I've gone through and all of that even brings me to a better place because it's made me a stronger me. I've helped other people. So I see the positive in it rather than the negative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. We were talking about this earlier with, young kids and parents who want to sort of smooth over all of the rough edges that life offers every human who walks this planet, It's the edges. It is the mistakes and the missteps that really shape your
Define
character.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, as much as whatever I started with, when sometimes my fans play me something back or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I am still here. It's really cool to see that there still is, like when I see Mish and I'm like, oh my God, she's still so Michelle. She's still so the same person. But we have a little bit of this, oh yeah, you know, like we can go and just kind of sow the oats and hope that we do, as we do have fans that really do take our word as bond, and they really do appreciate that we're sharing such honesty with them in our lives to make them try to maybe not make the same kind of things. They're going to make some their own, but maybe they'll kind of go, oh, well, she didn't do that. So we got to be watching out, know more about business.
Darn right you have to know about business. And if you're in business, you have to have a place where people will find you. That's why having a website is so important. Hey, why don't you try out Squarespace? Now, we've received some really great emails at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com and tweets about your Squarespace websites. Now, here's an email we got from Nathan Cunliffe. Hi there, Ru and Michelle. Absolutely love the podcast as well as Squarespace. Totally made my illustration website with Squarespace and it is incredible. Thanks. Anyways, I'm a 24-year-old gay white guy from Los Angeles, but I'm currently living and teaching in South Korea. How about that? Thanks so much for everything you do. So much love and respect for the both of you and the changes you've brought into the world. Sincerely, Nathan Cunliffe. Now, Nathan's website is gorgeous. He's a terrific illustrator and has some really fantastic examples of his work on his Squarespace website, which is nathancunliffeillustration.com. Now, if you want to see it, there's also a link on our website, so you can go there. Now, listen, if you want to get a free trial with no credit card required, just go to squarespace.com. And when you're blown away and ready to confirm a plan, use the offer code RU to get 10% off. And you'll be getting a great deal and helping to keep What's the Tea free. Thanks again to Squarespace, and keep sending those websites to RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. When I was growing up, we all knew the folklore of the Motown stars, and all of the mistakes that they made with their finances and stuff. So I had that, but aside from that, I had to learn all of the mistakes on my own. I really did.
Do you know we all, though? I mean, growing
I think
up,
so.
I know you did.
Yeah.
I know I did, because
we didn't have silver spoons, so that was like,
and nobody to go to that would understand. Even lawyers were like, you could do this. I wouldn't, but we're going to do it anyway.
Well, I mean, lawyers, they didn't even look at you until you had a big record deal.
Correct.
And when you had a big record deal, the record company was owning you anyway. So
what was the point?
You really didn't have...
With your first big record deal, did they get half of your publishing?
We did a publishing situation. I own my publishing now,
right.
So I definitely was, and I own my name, and so it was a really good thing. I had
Is Anastacia your birth name?
Yeah, yeah, but they could have owned it,
sure.
And there we go.
That would have been awful.
Like, oh my God, I'm Sally. Sally from the Valley. So I'm grateful for some of the things. But I have to say my own mistake was leaving Sony. That was my first record company. I actually left it because I was being loyal to my A&R guy who was leaving.
Who was your A&R guy?
David Massey, wonderful man in this business. But I wanted to go where he was going, and he was going to Mercury. And I don't know, I would tell anyone not to be that loyal when you have a record company that is 100% behind you and you have everything going for you at a record company.
Mistakes, though, baby.
You don't leave a record company and go to another one, because it's very difficult. You have to work your way up. Yeah. And so it's been a difficult ride to try to stay where I was and be where I was. However, I know I left not for riffraff, not for slave on my face. None of those reasons. I actually left for a really honest, kind reason of faithfulness in who signed me. I wanted to go with him.
Did anyone tell you,
don't do that?
Maybe not such a good idea?
Or anyone tried to tell you?
You know, not in a way that I took and was like, whoa, I have to really look at this seriously. I heard, you know, do you really want to leave? Like that kind of like passive aggressive conversation people have with you where they really don't tell you the truth, but they're like, so have you really thought this out? You know, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not telling me, girl.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so if somebody came to me from the hip, I might have. But Sony finally came to me and they're like, we don't want you to go. And it didn't really matter at that point.
Because your mind was made up?
I was like, yeah, I totally get it. And I really, really appreciate everything you guys have done. But I want to go with David Massey. He discovered, he understands, he knows where I'm at.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was a different scene.
It was.
Not with David and I, but it was a different scene over with L.A. Reid. And then L.A.
Right.
Reid moved to Sony. So there's a lot of ins and outs of interesting stories that are part of the journey. But, you know, me and David Massey, still wonderful. We're September babies, so we have our birthdays near each other, and we're always being
When's your
able
birthday?
Mine's 17th.
And she's the 20th.
I'm 20, yeah.
20, yeah. I love Virgos.
Virgos,
I've always loved. So what happens to old A&R people? What happens to them?
Well,
Where do they go?
out to pasture.
They do, and he's like part of the old school A&R.
Yes.
He is just still working.
Doing what?
He's pretty much, what is his title now?
He's still at a record label?
Yeah,
He's still at Mercury, but I'm practically president of Universal.
Wow. Was Bruce Carbone there when you went to Mercury?
Universal?
No, at Mercury. Wasn't Bruce Carbone there when it was just Mercury?
I went in 2000. I went in 2007.
Ah, no.
Yeah, so I was with Sony for 6-7 years.
And which albums came out on Sony? The first
All the no, the first 4.
Wow.
I know.
Did they have you overseas where you like just this massive? They had you over there too?
Yeah, that was where it happened. They didn't mean to make it happen, but I think something in America with the promotions or the someone that was very important during the time that I was supposed to release in America, something happened. So because everything was ready, videos and all, they just sent me over to Europe to do some promo. And I kind of never came back. It was just like, as you know, it just continued to grow. And I never really, they tried to keep bringing me back here, but I think there was some bad blood, not with me, but bad blood when it came to even trying to put out the second record when I did Divas Live. You know, that was the second impact of going, okay, we're going to try to bring her to America. Didn't quite work. And then the third album was after I had my first bout with cancer. In 2004, I put out the third album, which I did in 2003. And I just didn't want another album to sort of feel like it was a failure, so I didn't let them release it. And then they had so many illegal downloads. I don't even know if it's released yet. They got real mad. I mean, these are all things I just never really even understood or knew, but now I understand them all. Yet my record sales were going amazing, and the record industry was doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was doing this.
Yeah.
And at the time I was doing this, I decided to go, okay, I'm going to go over here. And probably not the best decision to make business-wise, but I have to say, I feel no guilt because I made it spiritually. I felt like I was following, you know, a really great man who's a great man.
Right.
And I didn't really realize that you sort of can't just follow people like, you know, loyalty.
Well, it's innocent, and you live from your mistakes. And I don't think it was a mistake in a sense.
No, it wasn't.
No, and that's okay. It's just that's where the career shifted.
Where in Europe was your base?
All of Europe.
All of Europe.
Yeah.
Did you own a house over there?
I rented.
Yeah.
I rented places.
What happens with...
I thought you owned a place in London when you were married.
I rented.
Oh,
when
really?
I was in London. Yeah.
Whatever happens when you living abroad like that, what happens to your taxes? Where do you pay your taxes? In the United States
You
or
pay
in Europe?
in the United States. You earn in Europe. So when the dollar was really low, it was great because I was earning really great money, and the what is that called?
The conversion?
That was different. But now, you know, we are still lower than the euro. So it's still great for me.
Right. Do you live here in America now?
Yes. I still live, yeah.
And here in Los Angeles? Mm-hmm. Wow. And so now I remember once Diane Warren played a song for me that she was working on, and years later, about a year later, I heard that song on your record.
My record.
Yes. It was the weirdest
Which
thing.
one?
It's something about a restaurant.
Yes, I totally figured that was what you were talking about.
Wow.
I forget what the name of it is.
Left you at the restaurant.
Yeah.
But that was the weirdest thing to be with someone who's working on a song and to later see it placed on someone's record. Yeah. And you write your own stuff.
Yes, most of my music is written, co-written. Also, so I like to write with people in the dynamics of working with someone. But it's mainly me talking about what I go through or what I've seen or what I'm seeing in the world. So I feel very me, and my music is me outside of my music. It's the same person. I don't have an alter ego when I'm on stage, and I think it's cool when people do. Hats off to them that they need to be this one and then they're the other. I don't know how to do that, so it's it is what it is, and this is who I am, and so it's easier for me to stay in the now,
right?
Knowing that I'm not turning on and off things.
Right, right.
I have enough going on upstairs to deal with that.
And so when you're writing, and do you listen to other performers when you are writing, or do you try to stay away from it so that you don't get influenced? Yeah.
Interesting. I actually, for a long, long, long time, I was always really scared to listen to anybody. I wasn't a big music buff when I was young because it just wasn't in the house. That wasn't what my family brought around me. But loved music and always had this real, I think, natural attraction to music and dancing to it, obviously, starting and then realizing, oh my gosh, I sing it, and then starting to write and going, God, all of this stuff is so very cathartic and interesting. But when I started doing it, I didn't want to feel like it was guiding me to making whatever it is, whoever I am, more like somebody else. So I didn't really, I grew up with Elton John and Barbra Streisand in the house. Those were the two records that, not just records, but groups of records that we had in the house, and Hair. That was pretty much the,
like the soundtrack to the musical?
The soundtrack, and I would put a
headband?
No, I would put a pantyhose on my head, and one side was, it was enough for me to have the legs dangling down, so it felt like it was her, and I was just living with my hair, my sister and I dancing in the living room with our pantyhose on our heads.
I love it.
Hey, low and showing loud. I was sodomy. Oh, yeah, it was great.
Your voice is so powerful and it's so incredible that I can't imagine that from the very beginning that was your path, that people would have said, this girl is an incredible singer, bring her right over here. I can't believe that the whole 20s you were unsigned to a label.
Well, I wore glasses, which was not happening. Like, I wore glasses to see. I wasn't taking them off for anybody.
And you didn't wear contacts? No contacts? No.
I was like, honey, I'm not going to take off my glasses. I will forget who I am and my lyrics and then fall off stage. It's not going to happen. And then I was not really that comfortable in my own sexuality, but I would show my abs. That was my thing. I always had, like, my midriff was out. Some people like certain parts of their body. I wasn't a real leg girl, or like, look at my clavicle. It was like, I have abs, and, there they are with a big scar on my stomach. I was very, very comfortable with that.
What do you mean scar? I
have a scar on my stomach from Crohn's disease since I was 12.
This girl's been through the ringer and back with her health.
Wow. So I've had a few. I've got a few diseases. I can whip them out and throw them at you, stick them on the wall. But it's all about being able to rise above whatever it is.
And that's what Resurrection is about. And I do want to say that knowing her for as long as I have and watching her go through it, ups and downs over the years, and, being in touch with her, losing touch with her, and being back in touch with her, being this last round of cancer, going through this. I have been through it with a bunch of people, unfortunately. I think we all have at this point in our lives. She didn't think twice about it. Not twice. Even like texting me from the hospital. She can't even move her friggin' arm. So she's like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to call you back. They're going to turn me over. Like she was such a warrior. Really. And
but I had to have my hair done. So I had to, I was like, you need to put my ponytail on my head. It needs to be tighter. It's a little off. High as a kite on Dilaudid. It didn't matter. I still needed my ponytail. She was so amazing,
Ruth, through it all. And we can laugh about it now. But she didn't show a single ounce of fear. She was like, look, this is what I got to do. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to these surgeons. I love my surgical team. We're going to get it done. It's going to be done. And I'm going to go
just take these puppies off. They're going to give me a new set. This is really awesome. I've had these for 40 some odd years. I'm going to get a new pair. This is so cool.
And she was so excited about smaller boobs. I was like, oh my God, I spent like years and thousands of dollars getting your boobs and you're getting rid. Can I have them?
Wait, when was this cancer storyline?
Well,
the first one,
2003, I went in for a breast reduction and I found out I had cancer. So wowza wowza, it kind of slowed down a lot. I had radiation. I did the whole 9 during 2003, but I also wrote my 3rd album and put it out in 2004, which really was so far from the first and second. My albums were growing in the amount that people were liking them. It was like a good thing. It wasn't like a sophomore album and then nothing really had been wah. And then good, staying stable. One biopsy that was a little bit sketch, but it was okay.
In 04 also?
No, that was probably like 6. And then everything was fine. And then how did I find out?
Did you go in for routine in?
Oh, no, I went in for a routine. Yeah. Gosh, I'm like, wait a minute. Now yes, I went in for the normal routine every 6 months because I was a previous cancer patient. They just watch and monitor you a lot more. Well, it came back again, and it still was an early stage.
But in the other breast.
And for me, I'd already gone through what I needed to go through in the first, and I was already now past an age where I'd probably have to take the meds because I got it so young that I could avoid taking the meds and just do the radiation. But now it might have been a situation where I'd have to take some meds for life and I'd have to maybe do chemo. And I was like, oh, no. Let's just do a mastectomy. And they're like, oh my God, that's so dramatic. And I'm like, dude, but like at the end of that road, I know it's the road less traveled. I know what's happening. Right. At the end of your road, I don't know what's happening. That's not cool. I'm so not that kind of a person. Don't gamble.
She's not that kind.
I'm not that kind of girl. So that was just sort of.
And what year was that?
In 2013, I did the double mastectomy. And then put Resurrection out in 2014.
Wow. So at what point did you realize that this was not something you needed to stop and woe is me? Because Michelle just described a certain attitude toward life and toward a brick wall where you decide I'm gonna do my thing. I'm not gonna let this stop me.
Well, I've always been like that because when I was young, that was my perspective as a kid.
Really? With the Crohn's then?
With Crohn's, because you never get rid of Crohn's.
So when did you discover you had Crohn's?
12.
At 12.
Wow. Yeah, and I had major surgery at the time, and I had a bunch of intestine removed. So I have a very large scar on my abdomen. But slowly but surely, as I became more and more comfortable with myself in my teens, I didn't care to, if I showed it. Now, the ignorance of some of the men who whoa, did you have what's that? When they cut the baby out?
A cesarean?
A cesarean. It's all up near my belly button. I'm like...
all the way up there.
I know.
Damn, that was a big-ass baby.
Is that a cesarean? I'm like, first of all, I have no children. But thank you for seeing and thinking that I do have children. Already.
Right.
I'm like 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was...
I'm 14.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 14 years old. So... They were shocked that I would show my scars, so out there, and I was like, yeah, well, if you don't like me, this is the ticket. You know, it only gets better after the scar. So
Right.
if you like the scar, then we can talk. So that was how I kind of sold my package.
That was the entry
in
fee.
life. Yes, and it didn't hinder them.
Well, no, it just proves the point. We were talking about this earlier about life's ups and downs and how it determines, it really shapes who you are and your character. Because the truth of the matter is, it's important to not take life too seriously. You know, it's important to realize that this is such a gift, and that if you think this woe is me storyline, that's what you get. But if you are a survivor and you decide, you know what, every moment is precious, I'm not going to take any of it for granted, then you can actually appreciate it as a whole. Especially when you look at the whole storyline from the beginning. I'm here, now I'm there, and this is probably where it might end. Then you realize, I'm going to enjoy this big chunk of time. Now, when you walked in, you gave me this lovely gift of a quote from Buddha. It says, "We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows, like a shadow that never leaves." That's something that Buddha said.
Yes.
Had you always been spiritual?
Yes, I've always been quite spiritual. I have a very strong love affair with religion. I just don't believe that one besides Buddha is probably any other one that I would follow, because there's too many restrictions in the other religions, a little hypocritical in their own self. But Buddha's very simple with, not that I have to follow only everything he says, but I like what he believes in, and I like what he's always shared with us as a people. It's not a forced issue. It's a very mindful process, and it has helped a lot. The more mindful I am, the more aware of the situations you're in, and you can't blame it on anything else, because you're in the moment and you need to be responsible for that. If you're somewhere else, then you can blame it on all these other things, and that's not, you need to be a responsible person.
So through all of these trials and tribulations, at what point did the spirituality come in? Was it from the very beginning?
Yeah, I think so. My mom was never, my mom grew up Catholic, then went to every church and got baptized in every water, because she was trying to find something that was going to help raise these children and figure out what life is when she left my dad, and just all the stuff she was going through as a woman. She didn't really force religion on us, and just brought us up as good kids. You know, really just with the foundation of don't lie, especially don't lie to me, because if you're lying to me, you're lying to God. You know, I will know, and she always did, and that always freaked me out. But it was because I was a terrible liar. Even if I did try to lie, she'd be like, "So where'd you go?" And I'd answer, "Where'd I go?" So, I mean, a dead giveaway. When you answer with a question, you might as well just not.
I agree.
Have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know.
Though sometimes in business, it's especially hard to get honest customer feedback on what works and what doesn't work, and how to tailor your message. That's why I really dig MailChimp, my favorite email marketing software. With MailChimp, you can A/B test your email campaigns to find out what subject lines are most effective and when is the best time to send emails. Now, if you're in sales, MailChimp is brilliant. For every campaign you send out, you can see who viewed the email, as well as what links they clicked on. Now, MailChimp is used by over 7 million businesses, and 10 billion emails are sent with the service each month. Now, if you look at the What's the Tea website, you can see that we were fans of MailChimp way before they even became a sponsor. Go to MailChimp.com. That's MailChimp.com and sign up today.
So I was one of those kind of kids, and it was a good match, because my mom just raised us.
She's
a very
a good
strong, independent woman, and raised me, my sister, and my brother relatively on her own, with my stepfather for a period of time as well, but just tried to tried to be a survivor, doing the best she can with 3 kids.
And she did.
Yeah. I'm going to back up. What is Crohn's disease?
Crohn's disease is a disease in your intestine that affects I want to say the little hands that push your food down, the LEI.
Yeah.
And it never goes away. And when it's severe, you can't really absorb food. So, and it's very painful when anything passes. So sometimes, in a lot of ways, if you're really in a bad flare-up, you'll lose a lot of weight and you'll have a very hard time gaining. Obviously, I'm not in flare-up, so, let's just keep that real. But when I am in flare-up, it just is like you could start to, but everyone says, you look amazing, when I'm like all cut up and my body looks great.
That's because I'm starving.
Right,
Yeah.
it's because my butt's on fire.
Yeah. And what do you do for it? Do you take
There's
it?
medication, yes.
Right.
Steroids is the old school method, and now they have Humira and all these other medications that are better than the way that prednisone used to be, because that's what we used to take back in the day.
And get all puffy.
Moon face, and that's in my 20s what I had to take in life with Michelle, as she witnessed a Moonface Anna.
But I loved her just as much.
It was okay. I had a lot of cheeks to share with everyone. And so for me, I've realized that Crohn's is aggravated more by stress, and also when stress is in your life, then food is a difficult thing to process anyway. If you don't have a flare-up, food can be a little bit of an easier situation to go through, but when you're dealing with them both, they both are like the enemy.
Is there an actual difference between Crohn's and colitis, or is it the same thing?
Yes, because colitis is in the large intestine. And Crohn's is in the small.
Well, there's the answer, Doctor.
Yeah.
And you don't have as much large. So colitis, it's a
little more dangerous.
Yeah, it's more dangerous because you just don't want to take. We have a lot of small intestine. Not that it's great to take out any intestine because you absorb your vitamins and different parts of the healthy enzymes through your intestine. But I was so young when I took out my B12 absorption, it just started absorbing somewhere else eventually.
So you know how to manage it now when it happens, more or less?
No, I don't. It just sort of, when it happens, you sort of figure it out. And I have a great doctor, so we just figure out what we need to do. It seems to take every few years, it's taking a different look. Like you think you know it, and it's an immune deficiency disorder.
Right.
So, if you want to relate it to the way that AIDS can be, there is a medication and everything, but, once everything is sort of figured out, something else could happen, and then you're at stage 1 again, trying to figure out how to get to that even place. So, so far so good. I've had my ups and downs, and usually when I'm in my downs, everyone thinks life is great because I look really good and everything's really... as they say, I'm not really one for diets because I can't really do it. So
we like to eat too much.
Listen, life is about just, you never know when it's going to end. So I don't want to let that pie go to waste.
No, why would you? Now we're talking with Anastacia. You got a new album called Resurrection. I want to know, looking back at your lifetime and some of the bumps along the road, especially with health, in a metaphysical eye, what do you think those things meant? What do you think the lesson was at 12, discovering the Crohn's, or at, in 03, the cancer coming up? What was the lesson? What did it actually mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
When I was young, I'm sure that it was don't hold everything in.
Oh, there it is.
Wasn't really
bingo.
I was I'm going to smile with everybody, and I don't want anybody to be sad. And that's always been my Achilles heel that I go to, because I go to humor to, escape anything that's a little bit too cray-cray. But when I feel like I'm hitting a zone where I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. Now my sister and I work together. we have now figured out that the word is homeland. So when I feel like I'm getting a little crazy,
safe word,
like the girl,
Claire Danes,
Claire Danes starts to get a little crazy, I'm just going to look at her and be like, Sean, homeland, and she'll be like, oh, okay. So that is my safe word. And
so you're saying that when you get anxious, life makes you anxious. So
it has not anymore as much.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how to express it. I think my music has really helped me express it. But with the beauty of having the music in my life, the career was a whole different situation. And I didn't really know how to deal with people that would tell you one thing and lead with another story. You know, there's a lot of that in this business. And I, once again, as innocent as we talked about, I was with my first relationship and, you know, falling in love with a gay man. It's like you didn't know. And then, you know, and then another relationship is me falling in love with someone who's completely on drugs and I didn't know for years that they even did drugs. You know, so I mean, I'm just, if not being aware, I don't know the signs that I'm supposed to look for, and I don't know people come with ulterior motives when they engage with you, that they have manipulation behind their...
Are you able to do that now?
I'm able to see through that now. I wasn't before, and I think now I'm with the wiserness and with making all of those interesting turns and twists. Now I feel I'm a better judge to go, oh no, I don't need to have that friendship. Thank you. Right. You know, and gracefully get out of a situation without needing it to be a situation that I don't know what to do and now I'm in it and you know. So now it's so much simpler and life is so much more peaceful and the career is so much more enjoyable for me.
Are you doing shows?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What's coming up?
All year. I'm pretty much everywhere you guys will be. We're in Australia, all of Europe, Asia, Russia. So I start the tour January 11th, and I'm starting in Italy, and I'll be going throughout the year.
I was going to see her when I was in London. She got a little bit of laryngitis, so I had to reschedule.
Yeah.
But I was going to see her when I was over there because she was over there. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, I know.
I didn't see her before.
And it would just, you know, when you get a cold, it just hits you. And
especially when you actually really sing.
Do you really have to watch the diet when you're on the road like that? Is it important with what you eat with your health?
No.
You know, when I'm in a zone and actually working, it all works really beautifully together. It's just, unfortunately, I was on a little bit of a Crohn's medication that brings down your immune system, and I got a sinus infection, and there you go. And once you do that and you're dealing with singing, you kind of... like it's the best of both worlds. You wish you could sing for everybody, but you can't. And I tried and probably sang a little bit too hard. And to try to reschedule all these dates that were so close together, we were able to move them to January because we couldn't move them to December. Everything was
just
weirdly
made more
booked.
sense.
Yeah. So I would have probably taken 10 days off and continued to do my tour, but it was easier to just rebook the rest of the 2 weeks in the new year.
You know, I haven't spent a lot of time in Europe in the past 10 years, but when I did spend time there...
It's changed so much, you're going to love it.
Well, the thing is that there was just bread, cheese, and ham.
Oh,
that was what we were doing.
Oh, no. Oh, me,
Gourmands.
Yeah.
So much good food over there now.
Yeah, they've
But, I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
it used to be just...
I used to go McDonald's, honey. I was like, I wasn't trying to get... At least they had McDonald's.
Right.
And that's what I lived on.
The TV sucked too, but now it's my TV of choice.
Totally.
Yeah.
And now with computers, you do the Netflix.
That's
you do
right.
Whatever. You have your movies.
Because this one here, she was, she's doing the vegan, gluten-free thing, and now with your computer, you can find the restaurants.
You have to know where you're going to go before you
have
go.
To plan
right.
it. Yeah.
Right. Especially with that.
Because that was one of the things Voltage used to talk about. It's like if you're going to
so hard.
You remember Voltage?
Yeah.
High Voltage.
Yes.
High Voltage. She was our
trainer.
fitness champion.
Yeah.
Yes, but she was talking about when you're going on some type of a different eating habit, you had to plan the food out. You had to have food with you.
Oh yes,
at all times.
We do that anyway. So I travel with Quest bars. Sometimes just for heat reasons, try not do anything with chocolate. And chocolate also now, with learning so much about my voice. It has caffeine in it, so I limit myself on what I can do caffeine-wise because I also have a heart condition. Oh, Lord.
My goodness.
I know.
See what I mean about this one?
I know. It's so cool. I'm like, and I'm still standing.
Yes,
but,
yes.
I'm like the Liz Taylor of music,
That's
honey.
right. That's right.
I mean, we do it well. If I'm going to do diseases, I've got to do a few that are fabulous.
Why not? But the funny thing about that is that it really does. It forces you to look at life as the gift that it is. It forces you to see. You think, what's going on here? What am I doing? And the answer will come, especially if you ask that question. Mm-hmm. And the answer is, you are here to serve the children, honey. Mm-hmm. You are here to. You have a beautiful voice. You are so talented, and you're still here. Mm-hmm. That's the big news, which is fabulous. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You're so inspiring, especially because through it all, you've prevailed, and here you are.
And everybody can get Resurrection. It's out now. Anastacia.com.
Anastacia.com. It's iTunes, Amazon.
I know. We forget about those. I always send people to the website.
They've got other stuff, too. they carry it all around these days. Yes, you can get it. And it's really... I don't know if many people know, but resurrection is also in Greek. It means Anastacia.
Really?
Yeah. So it's sort of like a full circle from my third album. When I had cancer, I wrote the third album, and I actually titled it my name. Anastacia was the third album's title. And then 10 years later, I got cancer again. And it just seemed like the perfect thing to end cancer because I was doing the big surgery. This is going to be the Resurrection album. Mm-hmm. This is going to be it.
I love it.
And so it really was like full circle, coming back to the Sprock, coming back to me, finding me again.
It is very you.
Yeah.
This album is not anybody else. It's very, very you.
I love anything to do with resurrection. I absolutely love it. You can't have a crucifixion without a resurrection.
Amen.
And you've been,
I've been crucified a few times. A few times.
Yes. Well, everybody loves a resurrection story. Oh. So if you get the chance to see Anastacia in concert around the world, you've got to do it. I know I will. When you come here, I will be front row center.
I will be honored. I would love it. I would love it. I want you to make sure that I was really cute and all before I went on stage.
Don't trust that one. Don't trust that one.
Right? No, but
I wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh, honey, just tell me what I need to wear and what I need to look like and how I need to move.
You always look gorgeous. I know that you've worked with David Dalrymple, and he's talking about what a lovely.
Billy B's done her face.
Yeah, and Billy B's done my face before. Patricia worked with me too, and so I've had some really
the best
to help guide. So
I love it.
They're you're just one of them that I would just steal some. I can steal some information. I'm always here. This sponge wants to take.
Well, you got it. All right, my love, and everybody out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.